final stretch, and I just want to be able to share some of our marketers must-haves. So number one, you have to have an objective in place. Believe me when I say you can burn money quickly on Facebook if you don't know how to allocate it at the right objective. Okay? I don't think you have a plan unless you write it down. Unless there's a document that everyone in your team, including your client, for example, if you're client servicing, that you can go back to as reference. And if you don't have that written down, it's always just so hard to get everybody on the same page. So first and foremost, write your objectives down. Let's say I'm going to be spending X amount and it's going to go to acquisition campaigns. Clearly written down, shared with everyone so that everyone's expectations are the same. So if you don't have an objective in place, if it's not written down, you're missing out. So that's the first thing that you need to do. And then remember, if you're just starting out, just so that you don't confuse yourself initially, if you're an e-commerce website, there are only just really 4 important things that you have to look at as the main KPI. Okay, as the main KPI. There's again, like I can name dozens of metrics, like dozens. The list goes on and on and on. And Facebook and Google adds so many metrics to track, but not all of them are important. Some of them are just supplementary to the big picture. And for me, the big picture is 4 things: impressions, clicks, purchases, and conversion rate. Most important metrics. So your objective has to be centered on one of these 4 things. So for example, when you're having a campaign that's optimized for impressions, don't expect your purchases and your conversion rate to improve also. Because again, that's not the point. Similarly, when you're on the other side of the spectrum, when you're trying to improve your conversion rate, don't expect a lot of people are going to, view your ads. Okay? So it's exactly in the spectrum, impressions to conversion rate. If you're improving impressions, it's most likely going to improve that way, versus if you're improving conversion rate, it's going to improve this way. So depending on where you're at and depending on your objective, you're only really influencing for the better one of these 4 things at a given time. Second, always have a Facebook pixel installed. Now, this is a really nifty trick that I use to sound smart during meetings. So a Facebook pixel, very simply put, it's a line of code that you put on your website to be able to track all your activity. So if you're an e-commerce site, Facebook has made it really simple. You just need to install a few lines of code, and anything that they touch on Facebook, any page, any product page, any add to cart, any conversion, it's all recorded and you're able to target them specifically. Now, how am I able to track? So what I like to do is before I go to a client meeting, I will check if they have a Facebook pixel. And I do this with the help of, very conveniently called Facebook Pixel Helper. So it's an extension or a plugin that you put in your Chrome if you're using Chrome. And it allows you to check if you have a pixel installed on your website. So this is an example of our website. So that's it. If you click on the top right, you will have the Facebook Pixel Helper, and then you will see that the website does indeed have a pixel. This is what you also use to check if your if your Facebook pixel is working properly. So it's a very nifty tool. Makes me sound hella smart, but in reality, it's the extension doing all of the work. If you don't have it now, I recommend that you do, because it's a nice, clever thing also. So like what I like to do sometimes is I will check the competitors of my clients, and then I will kind of laugh inside and say like, they don't have a pixel. My client's gonna freaking crush them. Okay, so and yeah, Facebook pixel, very important to check. Make sure it's installed. I will have another video about that specifically, because installing it can be easy and can be extremely challenging depending on what kind of website that you have. So I'll tackle that on a different video. And if you must know, Google advertising or Google Analytics also has a pixel also. Like they call it a retargeting code, or a tag rather. Sorry, a tag. It's not really a pixel. Now, I know what you're thinking. You see the errors there. You might be thinking, okay, Mickey doesn't know his stuff. I have a plugin that blocks my IP address kasi. So whenever I'm checking my website, obviously I don't want my traffic to count on my analytics. And I'm the number one traffic to my website, so I check my page like 100 times a day, and I just want to make sure that I don't record that. So that's why there's an error there. So I know what I'm doing here. Trust me. I just in this instance it shows the error. Um, the third one is to have patience. Even most experts will get it wrong. I've personally spent more than $1 million already in my career so far. I've talked to people who've spent $1 million+ already. And what's common is that they also understand that they're not going to win all the time. Okay? If you're winning all the time, again, you must be a really, really rich advertiser, or you're not challenging yourself enough, or you're only picking winning situations, because in reality, you're not going to win all the time. But that's never the goal, okay? My goal, and I tell this to my clients, my goal, client, is not to win for you 100% of the time. My goal is to win more than I'm going to lose, and make sure our losses are negligible so that you're profitable. Okay, so you have to have patience with it. If it were easy, again, if it were easy and you'd win 100% of the time, we won't be having this conversation, and you're probably teaching me how to run Facebook ads. But the reality, guys, even as someone as skilled as me, I consider myself pretty skilled at this, I don't win all the time. And it's almost impossible to win all the time unless you purposely pick winning situations always. So have patience. And I don't want this to come off as bragging, but I just want to show you what's possible when you stick with the process and you're patient with your winning. So this is an actual ad account that we're handling, and I'm overlooking personally. So this is an e-commerce website, and mind you guys, we ran this last month during a pandemic. This was in the month of May, and for the 6,000 pesos that we spend, and we spend a lot more than this, but for this specific campaign, for under 6,000 pesos, we netted our client almost 500,000 pesos in sales during a pandemic, when people are supposed to be conservative with their spending. I had to make a lot of mistakes to get to this point, and I guarantee you this is not Photoshop. So Bubs can verify that she's our head of creatives, and she knows when I Photoshop stuff, it looks horrible. This is not Photoshop. This is actual effort, and I only got to this point because I lost a couple of times. I lost countless of times. And for this client specifically, I've been working with this client for almost 2 years now. She has been so patient also with our process and our methodology that she completely trusts us to bounce back whenever we do lose, and to make sure our wins are super, super strong. So in this instance, it's great, right? 6,000 bucks. I netted almost 500,000 in sales. This is another example. Again, under 6,000 pesos, almost 260,000 plus in sales. Again, e-commerce, again in May. Okay, so people are still spending. You just need to be able to find a way to get them to spend. You need to be able to convince them. And again, this didn't happen on the first ad. All right, I didn't net this 260,000 plus on the first ad. If you guys notice on the left, sorry, I named my ad sets a bit weird. I understand, like, I have to be a little bit more systematic with it, but sometimes, I kind of go with the flow. It's an art also, right? If you can see, like, it's deep browsing. It's people who basically been to my site before. Okay? These are people who've been to my site. I've seen that they spend a lot of time, and I'm not prospecting anymore. These are people who've been to my website or my social media accounts, and then I just retarget them. And that's the result, because I'm patient with that whole process. And then last, so for a lead gen example, this is for a client that's based in the US. I think we were able to get, I think almost 600 messages. So those are unique messages. That's not the total number of messages. It's unique messages for that budget. That's about what, $325 around that range. And again, this is a huge win, obviously, and I'm really happy with this. But for me to get to this point, I had to make so many mistakes. and what allows me to create advertisements, like this, the ones that I've shown you previously, takes a tremendous amount of patience and just sticking with the process. Having the discipline of running acquisition campaigns only, retargeting campaigns only, retention campaigns only. Just sticking with that process, and winning more than I'm losing, results in campaigns like this. Okay, so it's completely possible, guys. And even during a pandemic, I shared examples of campaigns that we ran just last month. We just wrapped it up, and I'm showing them with you guys now, just to show you that it does work if you're patient with it and if you trust the process. So you can imagine the look in my face, right, when we were able to turn bad months in March and April where our spend wasn't that good and the ROI wasn't that good, but we stayed patient with that process, and we paid dividend, and it paid dividends for us in May when we raked in all of that. Again, I am very happy to tell you that I made all of these mistakes, and to get to that point where I can run campaigns at that efficient levels, it's taken me a while, and I continue to make these mistakes. But I guess that's the fun part about media buying. Like, you will continue to learn, for as long as Facebook and Google wants to change things. There's always something new to pick up. But if you stick with the process, you have a certain set of principles. You will win more than you will lose, and I'm happy to say that for my clients, we win more than we lose, and at the end of the day, they're happy with that. And I always look like this after after reporting.